Are you more of a video game person, but your friends like to play tabletop? Well, this video might be for you. Or just to anybody who wants more enjoyment out of their Dungeons & Dragons games. Hi, I'm Wes from Rolling Deep, and thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to be talking about a couple different strategies that may help you enjoy the game a little bit more. Fonte, get down. Rule number 1, don't let your cats on the table. As a player, a lot of the enjoyment comes from going up against the DM situations and using your skills and own deduction in order to outwit the situation, or it just feels good to roll high and smash your opponents into bits. If you don't get a lot of thrill from that right off the bat, but have no fear, because Wes is here. So the first thing I want to touch on is the headspace that you bring into your game night. So a lot of the times people might bring in a lot of negative attitudes, energies, or just problems they dealt with during the day into the game, and that really doesn't bode well for anybody. It can offset the balance between players and the game, the DM, and it might just overall wreck what we're trying to do. Burp. So being conscious of the energy that you bring to the table is very key. How can I fix my energy, you ask? Easy! Before a session, do whatever you need to do to hype yourself up or get in the headspace that you want for your table. If you're expecting an awesome barbarian fight when you show up today, go ahead and play some death grips or some banger death metal, something that gets you in the mood and sets the stage for that sort of tone. Player characters are being held enslaved and you guys are embarking on a very dangerous mission. A little Hamilton would never hurt. And it doesn't have to be music related. It can be expanded to all different types of facets of your thing. Number 2 on my list on ways to enjoy the game more. Simply read the player's handbook or any sort of source material related to your guys' campaign or setting that you guys are going to be embarking on. I know this sounds like a dead horse. However, being more engaged in the content overall is critical in order to fully experience and to set the stage with your party members. As a player, you don't really need to know the player's handbook inside and out. However, I would recommend it in order to get a good understanding of the mechanics and how the world works. It does a good job illustrating prices, an okay job illustrating prices, well as other interesting information about your possible background or race combinations. They do give a lot of great information in there, and I know most of you and a majority of you will have already checked out the player's handbook. However, it doesn't help to familiarize yourself a little bit more with the content that you're running. Number 3. Every session is different and every person will have different energies. This can swing wildly depending on a million things. Content the DM have prepared, contents of your group chat, how hungry everybody is. That's really important, super critical. Bring snacks, always bring snacks. But to bring it back, the real life players are just as important as the PCs that you guys run in your modules. Just because some people are really fucking lazy and don't want to just be nice to people. This, I feel, is a great cornerstone on actually evolving and growing your friendship with people. Reading the room and helping them in the littlest of ways, whether it be in-game or out-of-game, bringing snacks or showing appreciation really can help dictate how they're feeling, in real life. So maybe go a little bit out of your way to be nice and make that a little extra effort. When everyone's having a good time, everyone's having a good time. Do you know what I mean? Number 4. Take notes. Overall, just engage more. Reading over your own notes replays the last session in wonderful detail and can bring back important key memories that you may have forgotten. Because it takes like 5 years to plan a session now. I would recommend splitting your notes into 2 sections. One that sort of describes the key plot points, quests, and figures you may have encountered along your travels, while the second keeps track of an activity log or things that required actions done. That way you can recall sort of items you may have hexed, places you have gone, people you have talked to, princes I've turned to frogs, princesses I've turned to toads. Not necessarily a key point, but I would also recommend having a good spot or environment that you guys are playing at. Typically, if your table's uncomfortable or your seating sucks, it's gonna make sitting there for hours on end really unbearable and enjoyable in the long run. I would recommend taking the time to pick out a good playlist, like I said earlier, food supplied, as well as reading your notes from the previous session and preparing and getting ready while the DM sets up and does his thing and everyone checks their phones for the last time or two. And lastly, break the script with your friends. If the quest that you guys are on or the objective you guys are tailing is not enjoyable to the majority of your party, do something else.
We usually let alcohol guide our creativity.
So these have been some of my personal tips on how to enjoy Dungeons & Dragons as well as tabletop RPGs in general a little bit more with your friends who may or may not be that into it. If you like this video or you found yourself enjoying the game more after implementing one of these tips, please like and subscribe, and also maybe spend some time on the rest of the Rolling Deep channel. I'm Wes. Thank you guys. You're telling me I have to pay attention to how people feel?